So I've just tried to take this ACK-540R apart just to clean it because I've dropped a stout into the keyboard, so it needs cleaning. There's 4 feet. Under the feet is 4 little screws, like so, and 1 in each corner, here and here. There's the 2 screws at the top holding what looks to have been some kind of plastic mock cover for an old IR sensor. There's 2 extra screws hidden underneath the label here and here. If you undo those, it all starts to fall apart quite nicely. There are little plastic tabs down the sides, all the way along the edges. So you just need to prise those apart with a flathead screwdriver. Comes apart fairly easily, and now you can see, because I've taken all the screws apart, it is starting to come apart quite nicely. And there's lots of sticky brown gunk in here that I'm going to have to clean out. Hopefully this works when I've cleaned it. Okay, so I've managed to take the 2 little screws out of the keyboard control unit here, and thankfully the ribbon cable just pulled out quite nicely. It does feel like it's going to go back in. It just comes out of this black clip here. So what I also have is a donor keyboard with a perfectly working keyboard, and I've now got a nice, completely separate, full of beer, old knackered keyboard. So that's probably going to go in the bin. This one doesn't connect anymore. I've somehow managed to connect both of the RF USB adapters to this keyboard, which now doesn't work. But I'm assuming that the controllers and everything else all still work fine, and it's just the keyboard itself that's knackered. So I'm just going to try and swap them over and see if I can salvage one working keyboard from the 2. Okay, so I've done the transplant. Keyboard's gone from here into here. That ribbon cable goes in and out fairly easily. You just have to line it up. Make sure you get the black edge, as you can see there, facing up on this side with the chip. The other side is more silvery all the way down. But you just sort of line it up and push it in, and you'll feel it's quite loose, but you give it a little bit of a firm shove. Just make sure you try not to bend the ribbon cable so you don't break it. But give it a firm shove and it'll go back in. You can see it's pretty tight now. I'm pulling it quite hard. It's quite tight. Just so you know, that's the sort of crap that's been stuck inside my keyboard. It was a nice stout, unfortunately. The cat decided to knock it over. Okay, so I've put the 2 screws back in the control unit. I've lined up the keyboard with 1, 2, 3 sighting pegs. Just keep an eye on this because this is loose, so it should come out quite easily. Just give it a shove back in. Just make sure everything looks like it should be where it should be before you stick it all back together and put the screws back in. So I've taken it apart, put it together, doesn't work. So I've taken it apart again, put the other one back on, and it still doesn't work. So whatever I've done, I've broken something, but they're 10 years old now, so I'm going to kill them both. Good luck with yours. Well, after a load of faff, that was more effort than it was worth, but finally, yay! It's working. Top tip, read this and ignore the manual, because this is how you connect. This one is going to the tip because it doesn't work at all. It's dead. I guess you can't pour a beer into one of these keyboards and expect it to survive, which is a shame. Thankfully I've got a spare. Hooray!